The film story starts and we see a young lady whose name is Harper. Harper was looking extremely upset about this time because she is a victim of a very deep trauma. Actually, some time ago her husband died. The reason for his death was because Harper wanted to take divorce from her husband. On which Harper's husband said that it would be better if you do not take divorce. Because if you take divorce then I will die. Presently here we come to realize that they didn't get along by any means. Also, this was Harper's desired motivation to cut off this friendship until the end of time. Since her better half was an exceptionally irate individual. On account of this Harper was exhausted and she had chosen that she wouldn't live with such an irate and brutal individual. Then, at that point, one day we see that they battle a ton. Due to which Harper's husband beat her a great deal. Due to this Harper lashed out that she pushed her husband and tossed him out of the house. Simultaneously her better half go towards the rooftop, what's more, pass on there. Here Harper sees herself as answerable for her better half's demise. What's more, due to this she can't escape everything. In spite of the fact that she needs to fail to remember all that and continue on. Be that as it may, she couldn't do as such. So to fail to remember this she leased a house which was in a town. Yet, this town is based on the open country. Also, this town is extremely gorgeous. When Harper goes into the house, she sees an exceptionally big apple tree in the nursery of that house. She quickly culled an apple from that point and began eating it. After that she went inside the house and met Jeffrey. Who is really the proprietor of this house. Here there are a few typical things between them. However, aside from ordinary things, Jeffrey was additionally talking exceptionally peculiar things here. However, Harper couldn't grasp those things. In any case, sooner or later Jeffrey leaves from that point. Inevitably Harper video calls her closest companion. She informs him concerning her new house and furthermore shows him this house. After that when Harper switches off the telephone, she continues to ponder her significant other for quite a while. Then, at that point, quickly she emerges from her home to walk. Presently while strolling she comes to the wilderness. In any case, she was not apprehensive here. She was feeling much better here, truth be told. Then inevitably it begins pouring here. Because of which the weather conditions becomes delightful and the encompassing landscape as well. Furthermore, Harper is partaking in this a great deal. While strolling this way, Harper arrives at almost an old passage. However, when she goes inside that passage, she begins getting abnormal harmony there. Then when she utters a sound here, then, at that point, her voice begins reverberating there. That is, her voice used to return by slamming into the walls of the passage. What's more, in view of this reverberation used to emerge. And afterward this voice continuously turns out to be delicate. Subsequent to coming here, Harper was feeling better. She was extremely cheerful here. However at that point she checks out at the opposite side of the passage. Where a man is sitting, which was looking extremely peculiar. Furthermore, presently when she sees, that man gets up and begins running towards Harper. Presently seeing this, Harper gets extremely terrified. Along these lines, she promptly emerges from the passage. In the wake of emerging, she begins running towards the wilderness. Be that as it may, going on, she fails to remember the way. She doesn't recollect where she came from and where she needs to go at this point. Presently while running, she arrives at close to another passage. However, this passage was not open, yet it was shut. Along these lines, Harper strolls on another street. Where she goes on, she sees a ton of old houses. Where nobody used to reside and it was shut. Presently in light of the fact that the weather conditions here was extremely lovely. That is the reason Harper promptly takes out her versatile. What's more, begins making pictures and recordings of the environmental factors. However at that point out of nowhere she sees a similar weird man. Who was not wearing garments and he was remaining in an odd condition. Presently seeing him, Harper gets extremely frightened. Also, quickly begins taking off from that point. Then in some way she tracks down the correct way. Also, she contacts her home. In the wake of arriving at home, she calls her companion once more. Furthermore, whatever occurred with her in the wilderness, she additionally tells her companion. Then, at that point, unexpectedly her eyes fall on a similar bizarre man once more, who was following Harper and came to her home. Then seeing this, Harper switches off the telephone. Also, promptly goes to close the entryway. Be that as it may, the entryway was not shut as expected. It was still somewhat open. Presently here Harper is extremely apprehensive. Yet at the same time she proceeds boldness. What's more, she shuts the entryway. In any case, that odd man who was remaining external the house. He places his hand through an opening in the entryway. What's more, begins attempting to open that entryway. Presently seeing this, Harper calls the police. Then sooner or later, the police comes there. Furthermore, captures that man. Indeed, the police takes that man with them. Also, he is secured in prison. After this, we are shown the location of the following morning, where Harper goes to a congregation. What's more, she sees a stone there, on which a bizarre picture was made. In any case peculiar sounds are likewise coming from it. Presently staying here in this congregation, Harper cries a ton. Then after some time, she emerges from the congregation. Furthermore, begins returning home. However at that point unexpectedly she sees an outsider, who was wearing a veil. Here that more peculiar beginnings conversing with Harper in an extremely unusual manner. He tells her that we should play a game with Hayden. Be that as it may, Harper plainly won't do as such. That I won't play any game with you. Then, at that point, sooner or later, a dad of the congregation comes there. When he comes there, he sends that more interesting from that point. Indeed, later Harper and that father begin conversing with one another. Here Harper educates everyone of the things regarding her and her significant other to the dad. At the point when the dad hears her, he says that it is your shortcoming. Today your significant other isn't in this world as a result of you, since you constrained him to do this. Presently in the wake of hearing this, Harper is very shocked. Simultaneously, she lashes out at the dad. That is the reason she goes from that point. Around evening time, Harper goes to a bar to drink, where she meets Jeffrey once more. That is, the proprietor of the house. Then both of them begin talking here. However at that point the cop comes here, who had captured that bizarre man from Harper's home that day. Here the cop lets Harper know that we have delivered that man. That is, we have let him out of prison. Since there was no body of evidence against him, we had no proof. Presently subsequent to hearing this, Harper lashes out. That she emerges from there extremely irate at that cop. Yet, when she is going out and about, she feels as though somebody is following her. What's more, this was additionally obvious, since an unusual man was following her. Presently along these lines, Harper is so anxious. However, to arrive at home rapidly, she begins running from that point. Presently when she arrives at home, she calls her companion once more. Furthermore, she likewise enlightens her concerning this. Hearing this, Harper's companion advises her to be prepared. I'm coming to take you. Presently Harper begins telling her companion the location of her home. Then out of nowhere the telephone switches off. Then Harper calls her companion once more. What's more, again attempts to tell her the location. However, this time additionally the telephone switches off. After this, Harper sent the location of her home to her companion through instant message, where the answer of this message came exceptionally abnormal. The answer was that I definitely know where you are. That is, I definitely know where you are. Yet, presently before Harper could grasp anything, then from the window, her eyes fall on the cop remaining outside. Then, at that point, quickly Harper emerges from the house to the cop and asks him, "What are you doing here?" However at that point out of nowhere the lights begin glimmering. Furthermore, when the cop vanishes from that point, and afterward a great deal of apples begin tumbling from the apple tree. Presently due to this present circumstance, Harper is extremely frightened. However at that point unexpectedly a man begins running towards her. Then, at that point, she shuts the entryway. In any case, after some time, she sees that somebody has broken the window of the house. Furthermore, presently a similar man began running from the opposite side of the house. Presently seeing this, Harper likewise gets the blade to confront him. However, at that point unexpectedly somebody began thumping on the primary entryway of the house. Then along these lines, Harper began yelling and saying that whoever you are, assuming that you come inside, I will kill you. However, at that point out of nowhere the entryway opens and Jeffrey comes inside. So along these lines, Harper didn't go after him and he halted. Presently here Jeffrey tells Harper that I heard your shout. Along these lines, I promptly ran and came here. Presently let me know what has been going on with you? Might it be said that you are alright? Then Harper tells her that really somebody was attempting to break the window and go into the house. Then subsequent to hearing this, Jeffrey proceeds to actually look at the window, which was truly broken. However, there was likewise a dark bird lying close by. Presently seeing this, Jeffrey emerges from the house and starts making sure that there is nobody here. However, at that point unexpectedly the lights begin flashing once more. What's more, this time, Jeffrey vanishes when he sees. What's more, presently a similar peculiar man comes before Harper, who is lying behind him all along. Now that man blew a couple of leaves of the bloom and turned Harper in the air. Furthermore, presently unexpectedly Harper's condition began getting extremely odd. Taking a gander at him, maybe somebody had assumed command over him. After this, Harper goes inside the house and shuts the entryway. In any case, that man again attempts to open the entryway by placing his hand inside through the opening in the entryway. Then, at that point, seeing this, Harper places that blade in his arm, which Harper had kept with him. Presently thus, that man attempts a ton to grasp his hand out. In any case, his hand didn't emerge and was cut into two sections. Furthermore, presently here Harper feels that perhaps now my life is left with that man. After this, Harper quickly goes to the kitchen where she tracks down that more odd before her, who was advising her to play with Aiden. Here this outsider again advises Harper to come and play a game with Aiden. Presently what to see here is that this more bizarre's hand was additionally cut precisely like that of that abnormal man. Coming to the entryway, Harper tells the more bizarre that it would be better for you to disappear from here. Any other way, I will kill you. Then the more abnormal says that no Harper, you can't do that. Saying this, he came to Harper. Be that as it may, presently in light of the fact that Harper has no other choice, so thus she prepares to play find the stowaway with the outsider. Harper shuts the entryway and starts building up to 10. At the point when she says 10 and pivots, then a similar dad of the congregation comes before her, whom Harper has met previously. What's more, presently the dad begins moving towards Harper. Presently consequently, Harper gets exceptionally frightened and goes to the next room. Presently the dad's hand was additionally cut precisely like that of that weird man and outsider. Here the dad begins acting up with Harper. Be that as it may, Harper hit him on the chest with a blade and dropped him down. Then Harper emerges and sits in the vehicle. Also, she begins going from that point rapidly. She is pushing ahead while driving a quick vehicle. However, at that point abruptly somebody comes before her vehicle and she slams into her vehicle. Also, this man was, as a matter of fact, the proprietor of the house, Jeffrey. Jeffrey comes near the vehicle, hauls Harper out of the vehicle and starts pulling her. Then, at that point, he tosses Harper there and starts the vehicle and starts going from that point. Presently here Harper gets up and begins strolling ahead. However, at that point Harper sees that Jeffrey is coming towards her while driving a quick vehicle. Thus, Harper additionally kicked frightened and away running from that point. Then she arrives at home by saving her existence with incredible trouble. However, Jeffrey had zero control over the vehicle, due to which the vehicle crashes into the wall. We see Harper lying in the nursery in an injured condition. However, at that point a weird man comes before her. What's more, the stunning thing here is that he planned to have a child. What's more, this time an unusual sort of plant had developed all over, like a parasite. However, at that point similar more odd emerges from the man's stomach. Presently, in light of the fact that this thing was exceptionally bizarre, Harper awakens seeing this. Furthermore, the really astonishing thing is that the outsider was likewise going to have a child. So presently a similar dad of the congregation emerges from the more unusual stomach. Seeing this, Harper gets exceptionally terrified and quickly comes inside the house. Yet, presently the dad additionally begins moving towards Harper. Presently here the dad was likewise going to have a child. Also, Jeffrey emerges from the dad's stomach. Presently here Harper couldn't figure out anything that what's going on here. She was recently astonished. She had freaked out. Presently here Jeffrey likewise needed to bring forth a child. Furthermore, Harper's better half emerges from her stomach. Also, presently this thing planned to knock her socks off. She would have been exceptionally amazed. Harper's significant other comes to her and sits with her. Here Harper asks her that what is it that you expect from me? To which her significant other says that I simply need your adoration. Presently this scene gets cut here. Furthermore, in the following scene we see Harper sitting someplace where unexpectedly her companion comes before her. The one she used to converse with frequently. Furthermore, shockingly she was likewise going to have a child. Presently here you will be confounded that what was happening in the film till now. So presently we are informed the plot of this film here. In this film we have attempted to make sense of a dull reality. Furthermore, that will be that every one of the guys, for example every one of the men, are something similar. Obviously the circumstance changes. Time changes. In any case, every one of the men are something similar. For example irate, yelling and tormenting ladies. Furthermore, in the film the significance of having kids over and over was that in the event that a man brings forth a kid, the youngsters are likewise something similar. Like in the film every one of the ones who were conceived were additionally furious and brutal. Somebody was startling Harper and somebody was getting rowdy with him. For example this way Harper felt the apprehension about every one of them. And afterward when Jeffrey brought forth Harper's better half, furthermore, when Harper asked him that what is it that you need? Then we figured out everything from the response of her better half. Since Harper's significant other was likewise an extremely irate and brutal man. He used to think about Harper as his property. However, anything that I do with him. That is the reason he let Harper know that I just need you and your affection. Also, presently the astonishing thing here is that every one of the male characters in the film are played by a similar man. Furthermore, that is Harper's better half. For example Jeffrey, father, that peculiar man and that outsider were no different either way. Harper's significant other just attempted to terrify Harper in various gatherings. And this multitude of various men were apparent to Harper since she had him. What's more, later the anxiety toward Harper was acquired front of her. Furthermore, Harper was had when she ate an apple. Furthermore, when she was moved by, started to see her trepidation before her. This film closes with an exhilarating suspense.